Today I'm here with Eduardo Medina. Eduardo has been killing it with his web agency, Novatech, which primarily serves Latin America. As I build my own agency, he's been teaching me the game. Now he's here to teach you. Today we're going to talk about Eduardo's journey with Novatech and his vision for the future. How's it going, Eduardo?
Hey Nolan, how are you doing? Thank you very much for the introduction, and I'm hope we can have some fun today.
Definitely. I'm happy to have you on the show, man. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and I
Yeah,
always learn something in the process as well.
thanks so much.
So let's hear the story behind Novatech. How did you get started and how did it evolve into what it is today?
So we started the company last year. I have been always working on entrepreneurial stuff. I was 20, I'm 30 right now. And last year, I used to work as a software developer for a company in Florida. So what happened is a friend of mine asked me to do a project for him. And then I thought to myself, maybe I can start doing projects on my own for companies. That's how it started. I started the company that way. Then all of the AI stuff came around. I thought to myself, I could create some great solutions related to AI and Latin America. Long story short, they weren't so interested. But then we decided to focus on web development in a different way. We create the webs that we believe our clients will need with the sections and the keywords that Ray will need to convert. So we don't just create web pages, we create high performance web pages, and with a new method that is called the triple E method. Right now, what we see for the future is we want to still be a 3.0 web dev agency. And in the future, we want to create new tools for our clients so they can leverage the power of these new technologies like AI.
That's a journey you've been on with this
Yeah.
company. So you offer a variety of services from web development, SEO, and more. What
Yeah.
services bring in most of your revenue and which ones do you say have the most promise for the future?
Right now, I would say we are trying to focus on just two. We create web pages, e-commerce, and work on the SEO, but just focusing on the blogs. We don't do a whole SEO strategy. We focus on creating incredible blogs with keywords, and that's how we work the SEO. And on the other part, we are focusing on creating the web pages and the e-commerce with a different point of view. We are not like every other web agency. We create, as I mentioned, you using a different methodology that we have called it the triple E methodology.
Could you explain what the triple E methodology is?
Yeah, of course. So in the common way that most of the web agencies work is, for example, Nolan, you're my client, right? And you tell me, hey, Eduardo, I want my web page. And the other agencies ask you, how do you want your web page? What would you like in your web page? And they create a design that looks beautiful, but it doesn't perform. It doesn't do anything. It just looks good. So what we do right now is that yes, one of the triple E is triple E in Spanish actually. I don't know in English. I'm going to explain the 3 points. So the 3 points is that the first point is that the pages are they look good. They're not the most beautiful, but they look more than good enough so that people that go in know that they are not getting a scam and they are related to your business. But we don't include like any crazy animations or too much buttons or pop-ups that might distract your potential client from what you want them to do. They look more than good enough, but they are not the most beautiful because that's not that intention that you should have with your webpage. The second point is that we focus on converting could mean different things. It could mean actually asking the client to buy now. It could mean asking the client to schedule a meeting. It could mean asking the client to check out your programs. The focus of this page is to convert, to get the visitor to do something. So how do we do that? We do that with persuasive text. We do that with good images that lead the visitor to click on the buttons that we want them to click. And the third point is we provide the page with a great UX. The UX is one of the most important part of your SEO actually. So all our pages have all the key sections as we call it. So key sections are the hero section, the product and services section, a summary about the company that leads to an about page. Then the fourth part is reviews from other clients. That is very important. Every page should have a review that is social proof that you always need. And the fifth part is to action. So it can be like a funnel, right? If someone doesn't click on the first part, then we start proving them why they should click. as they go down and they reach a call to action section where if they have reached so far, they should click. And the other key part is that your page should always have an about us page.
I wish Google would be more transparent with like how exactly SEO works, because there's a lot of hints out there, but they won't directly come out and say why some pages rank higher and what their methodology is. So I
you
wish
know,
that was something they're more transparent about for sure.
there was a leak this year from the algorithm. A lot of what I learned about SEO also came from that, and that is actually true. It works. This leak it showed how the algorithm worked. They will probably change it a little bit. One of the most important parts of SEO is creating good content for your web page. It should be focused on keywords, on what people are searching. For example, we create blogs for our clients, and each blog tries to focus on just one keyword. And that's how we get more traffic to their pages, more sales, and everything.
Nice. So what tool are you using to identify the right keywords to put into the blocks?
As the company started, we didn't want to pay for anything. I remember exactly the name because my co-founder was the one that was using it. What it was a Google tool. It was a Google tool that was a free tool. We got our keywords from there and it worked. We got from our first client, we used that tool and we got like incredible results. But as the company grew, we started to buy some tools related to SEO and keywords. And the other tool that we used was called HRank. We bought that because it was cheaper than SEMrush. So HRank is like $49 or something like that. And it was good, but not so good for Peru because they don't have a huge database for Latin America keywords. So for the US, it works fine. You can actually get that right now, and it's not the most expensive. But we didn't have a great experience with it because it didn't have a huge database for Latin American keywords. And then we moved to the one that we're using right now that is too expensive. I wish there was another option. It's called SEMrush, and SEMrush is like $130 a month. That is just too much for us. But we can pay it right now. Happy, but not happy at the same time. The good thing about it is that it has these huge keywords databases that are very good, including for LATAM, and it has so many tools. In the US, I know so many people use it. It's crazy. So yeah, that's the one that we're using right now.
Okay, SEMrush, a bit pricey, but hopefully it provides enough value where you can get that money back with your clients by serving them.
It does.
So what lessons have you learned from the process of building Novatech?
That's crazy. I have learned so much. I think one of the most important lessons that I have learned recently is that, for example, on the accounting side, it's very important to know the play field where you are playing, like where you have your business. You need to know about the taxes. So how much are you going to be charged for your taxes and everything, like the monthly and the yearly. That's very important because if you don't have those numbers into consideration, you can think you're winning money and then you have to pay your taxes and don't know how to operate there. So that's one very important thing that I have learned recently. You should always have your numbers in your head. For example, how much money you're winning, how much money you're spending on every tool, on every person that you hire, on yourself, when you pay yourself, so that if you are actually making money from the business, you always want to have some money at the end of the month that you can save up for an investment on your business on the future or some stuff like that. Another thing that I have learned in the process of creating Novatech is that you need to focus on what you are building. Every business has its tricks. Every business gets boring eventually. And then you come up with a great idea for what you should do next. And then you move to that next idea because it's like the lady in the red dress. It looks so good from the outside. But when you actually go into that area, you realize that it has its issues. Every business has problems that you need to figure out. So when you are stressed out, it means that you are in a level of your business that you need to fix a big problem so that you can get to the next level of your business. To focus is one of the things that I have learned. I could have jumped to many other businesses, but I had to learn to say no to a lot of people and just focus on this.
I love both of those lessons with the numbers and taxes. I think that's something a lot of early stage entrepreneurs overlook because they're so focused on
Yeah.
building, marketing. They don't even think about the numbers when they're spending more money than is coming in and they don't even realize it.
That's
And
crazy.
then another thing is with the focus, I definitely suffer from that as well, where it's shiny object syndrome.
Yeah.
I'm working on a project now, and it's hard for me to just have one project going on at once. I have to be doing multiple things. And then I have my list of ideas. And sometimes I'm thinking, wish I could just start building that while I'm in the middle of these other projects. That's why the focus is so important, because you can easily spread yourself too thin, and then you're not
And
putting out quality work. So it's a
yeah,
balancing act for sure.
actually, there's a third one that is very important. You need to get good at selling, or at least your co-founder needs to be good at selling, or anyone that it's in the business with you. But I can almost assure you that your business will grow if the CEO knows how to sell, because selling it's very important and it's actually a process. And I'm trying to lose that fear of rejection when you make your offer and trying to close. Closing is the most important part, and it's the part most people don't want to do because you can get rejected, and that's okay. You also need to learn how to manage the objections from clients. For example, this happened to me 2 days ago where a client told me, I don't have time to work with you on the website. And I told him, like, I know you're an entrepreneur, and will you ever have time actually? Because we are very busy, but you shouldn't let that stop you from make a great investment. And she actually told me, like, hey, you're right, I'm not going to ever stop being busy. And then she made me the deposit and we started working. So you need to learn how to manage those objections even when the client tells you, hey, I don't have any money, or I need to talk to my wife. There are so many techniques to manage those objections, and they're almost the same ones each time. So if you actually learn how to manage the objections, learn how to sell, and learn how to not be afraid of rejection, you are going to be great.
As I say, sales cure all, right? And that's
Yeah,
something a lot of technical entrepreneurs are afraid of,
it's hard.
terrified. Even myself, I'm starting to try to get comfortable with it. You shared with me that one video with Alex Hormozy, how to get your
Yeah,
5 customers. And I was learning a ton from that, and I've been starting to put myself out there more with sales, working on my sales skills. Because you can build the perfect product, but if you can't sell it, what good is that?
yeah, it's a balance. Like right now, what has happened to us is that we are growing and we started to get more clients from our method because people actually trust what we do. You also need to have a great product. If you get so much sales that you lose the quality of what you do, then you should rethink your whole process on how to make it better, how to make it faster. But you should try not to lose the quality of what you are selling. Right now, we're stopping on sales a bit. We're going to focus again on creating a great product, on delivering something good for our clients.
Yeah, especially for service businesses, because you can only have so many clients before you
Yeah,
have to hire new people.
yeah,
And the selling thing is a balance. You have to make sure you don't have too much on your plate, or else your
yes,
work will suffer.
exactly.
What's your long-term vision with Novatech and your career as an entrepreneur? Where do you see yourself in like 5 to 10 years?
I think like in 5 years with Novatech, what I would love the company to be doing is to have created a lot of tools for entrepreneurs revolve around AI and getting like the best results for them. And on the longest term, like in 10 years, I would like to be like one of the biggest company on the world regarding to technology and AI and any other technology that pops out. I think even in the longest term, like 20 years with Novatech to accomplish that objective, because I actually love technology and being an entrepreneur is something that I always wanted to be. And what I think I just missed was the focus on one project. If you can focus on one stuff and you are sure that you're going to go deep into that project, I think you can accomplish great things.
Definitely. Focus is so important. If you spread yourself too thin, the quality of work suffers.
Yeah,
So
I know.
it's very important to have that core focus. You can have those little side quests on the side that complement it,
Yeah.
but you don't want to be everywhere,
And
right?
it's very important also for your focus to not compare yourself with other people. Competing is very important because competing actually moves people around and moves like development, and that's how we as a society have so many great things because big companies are competing to give us more and more, and that's why we have so much advancements. But that's one thing, and comparing yourself with other people even at your own age or younger can kill your ideas and make you focus on different stuff that you shouldn't focus.
Definitely. So competition is a funny thing with business, because It's not like sports. As an entrepreneur, you need to have a positive sum growth mindset. And I try to look at competition more like a peer than a competitor, because we can be serving our customers and executing in different ways, and they can win and I can win. So it's not like a direct competition like it would be in sports. What skills or qualities do you believe are most crucial for success as an entrepreneur?
So I think you don't have to be the most intelligent as an entrepreneur, because if you are very intelligent, you actually need to think less. What most intelligent people do is they think too much. They want to have every detail. And that's actually not the best idea as an entrepreneur. You should have some details, but you need to think less and just take action. You are going to mess up, and that's okay. When you mess up, you can fix it and learn from that. It's worse if you stay in your mind and don't move. Being able to fail fast, that I would call, instead of being intelligent. The other point is that you have to be resilient, and that's crazy how important that is. I think the word resilient doesn't show how important that is, but it's the most important thing, because when you have this small company, everything is on fire all the time, and you think about like quitting because you have to do many roles at the same time. When you're about to level up, it's where the times get worse, because you are in a very uncomfortable position. You are not ready yet for that new level, but you are moving through emotions and different stuff because you're about to level up, where you're about to figure out the problem that you have with your business. 2 days ago, I realized that every time that I get very uncomfortable, very annoyed, it's when my company is about to reach a new level. We are not there yet and we don't know how to manage properly, but we are trying to do that. And when we actually do it, we have reached a new level of sales, a new level of production, or something like that.
Good stuff you said there. Let me start with leveling up. You feel that discomfort right beforehand,
It's
and
crazy,
that
yes.
that's a sign you're on the right track,
Yeah.
though. Most people feel that discomfort and they're like, you know what, never mind. But that's actually a counterintuitive sign that you're on the right track. You're pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, and that's a sign growth is on the way. What you said about being resilient, one of my favorite words, I think it was Paul Graham that said, you need to be relentlessly resourceful. I just love those two words because that perfectly describes how you need to be as an entrepreneur. You need to be always looking for opportunities, and when there's diversity, you need to deal with it and find a way out. As far as IQ goes, it's not always the
Yeah.
most book smart person that figures it out. With entrepreneurship, you need to be emotionally intelligent. You need to understand human nature. You need to be able to communicate. And then you also need to have some of that intelligence that you would get from school. But it's a holistic balance to have all those traits as an entrepreneur. If you're just book smart and you can't communicate or you don't understand people, you're not going to go very far. It's not the most book smart people that usually win at entrepreneurship. They excel at fields like research and university, but not necessarily with entrepreneurship.
You have to be very brave to be an entrepreneur, because if you don't move, if you don't work, if you don't do stuff, you won't have money. You can have a runway of 2 or 3 months. For example, Novatech right now has a runway of 2 months because that's the money that we have kept on the bank just in case. But you have to think that in 2 months, where are you going to get your clients from? You have to always be thinking about the future, and you have to always be moving. It depends on you as an entrepreneur how far you can go and if your company lives or it dies. For example, right now, I will just give up and I would say I don't want to work anymore. 2 months from now, that will be the end. Every day is a new strategy. Every day is a new move. Like every day, it's a new something to make it work. So that's a key point also.
Entrepreneurs are like sharks because sharks always have to be moving, even when they're sleeping.
Yeah.
In a way, you can say that's our spirit animal as an entrepreneur. We need to be a shark and always be
Exactly.
moving.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
how do you manage to stay always learning in an industry where change is constant? Do you have any go-to resources for this? Maybe some books, podcast, or any resource that has helped you in the past?
Something that I have realized is that it's better to have less resources than a lot of resources. Like in the past, I used to have, when I wanted to learn about sales, for example, I used to try to learn from so many people that it would get me frustrated because one would tell me one thing, the other one would tell me like a different thing, the other one would tell me like, those two guys are crazy, you should do it this way. Check everyone out, but choose one from the topic that you want to learn, and it doesn't matter if he or her is actually right, but you will actually at least have a path of learning. When you try it out with your clients or whatever you're trying to learn, you will realize if the person you are following right now it's accurate or not. And if it is accurate, that's a good person to follow. If it's not, you will learn that it's not, and you can try something out. But you need to choose one. Focus on one. It's crazy how much these words pop up. But yeah, if you're trying to learn something, just focus on one person that is trying to teach you that stuff. And then, for example, my focus for entrepreneurship is Alex Hormozy. Like most of the stuff that I learn about business is from him and his wife, Leila Hormozy. They kill it. For sales, it's a guy called Jeremy Miner, especially for sales. Jeremy Miner, he's very good with on how to sell on 2020. There's other guys that tell you that show you how to sell from a past era or something like that, but he's very good about how to sell on this time. Like he talks about tonality, how you should make yourself be respected as a salesman, so people will see you as an expert and stuff like that. But yeah,
Nice. I've learned a good deal from Alex Hormozy, his books, podcasts. I haven't checked out Jeremy Miner yet, but that's somebody I'm going to look into. I definitely agree with how you said you can learn from all these books and maybe some of them cancel each other out, but it's important, like if you're going to learn from a resource, go ahead and apply that before you just pile on top of that with new information. You're just stacking the deck with a bunch of knowledge, but you're not applying it. So you
yeah.
definitely need to apply each resource you learn from, you need to apply it right away. A lot of entrepreneurs will get stuck in a trap of procrastination that manifests itself as learning, though. They're really preventing themselves from moving forward because they're like, I just need to read one more book. I need to just learn one more course or whatever. And I find the best teachers really is trial and error. Like you said,
Exactly.
you need to take what you learn from the book and you'll learn from trial and error if what you learn is applicable or not. That's the validator right there. You don't want to fall into that procrastination trap where you're like, oh, I just need to learn this, need to learn that, and then I can start my business or launch my product. Definitely don't do
No,
that to
yeah,
yourself.
the I think the best thing that you can do is to learn how to fail fast. Don't take failure as something bad. You have to change how you think. You need to change it from failing is bad. You need to think about failing is the path to success. Like each time you fail, you need to learn about that. That's why you fail fast. For example, Elon Musk, even him talks about he fails so many times that eventually he learns about it. So you don't need to learn the first time, but if you keep working, you're going to keep failing on the same point, and eventually you're going to say, "Hey, stop! I need to fix this," and then you're going to fix it, and then you're going to move. But if you try to fail as fast as you can and then learn as fast as you can, you are going to kill it. There's no other
Mm-hmm.
way. One more thing is that you need to learn how to be patient. Patience is very important. Rome wasn't built in a day. And it seems like when you go onto Instagram or TikTok, like these guys get money like on a month or in a year, they are like millionaires, they have Lamborghinis and stuff like that. But even if it's true, most of the cases I don't think it's true. Even if it is, it's luck. I think the worst that can happen to a young person is to get money fast by being lucky because you don't know how to manage that money. And you are going to spend it in stuff that you shouldn't be spending, and then you're going to run out of resources. That actually happened to me 3 years ago. I invested in cryptocurrency and I won a lot of money very fast. But then we lost it all, like everything. And we earned like $200K dollars or something like that in cryptocurrencies. We lost it all because we got fast money as fast as it comes, as fast as it goes. I have learned my lesson. I know that there was a good market right now for cryptocurrencies, but I didn't want to get involved anymore. What I'm trying to do right now is create something valuable for society. In order to do that, you need to understand it will take time. You have to create something good, and that requires patience, resilience, not being afraid to fail, and it's like a whole change of how you think.
I love that. And I think every entrepreneur, the first time founder, those are lessons they need to learn because people are afraid of failure. It's
Yeah,
ingrained in our DNA. You have to override that tendency as an entrepreneur because that's how we learn. The road
yeah,
to success is paved with failure. And then you need to be patient as well because by consistently showing up every day, that's how you compound growth. And by
that's true.
applying what you learned and then consistently making action on that, that's when the growth compounds. That only happens when you're patient and you let that play out over time, because compound growth, the one variable that it needs is time. Time is on your side. You look at Warren Buffett with compound growth. The reason he is the best investor of all time is because he has been investing since he was 10 or 11 years old.
Yeah.
The reason he has so much money is the money that he invested at that age has been growing every year since then. Compound growth is on your side if you're patient. And like you said about how fast money comes fast, it goes fast. And when you're building something that's going to be here for the long term, you definitely need that patience. But that's an amazing story. It must have been painful to learn that,
Yeah,
but
it was very hard.
I'm glad you made it through, because that must have
Yeah,
been really stressful. And now you're building something for the long term, Novatech. And Novatech
exactly.
in 10 years is still going to be here. Wow, that 200K of crypto money, that's gone, but Novatech will be here for the long term.
And the thing is that when you learn how to build a business on the long term, like to be patient, actually, the 30 years old Eduardo compared to the 40 years old Eduardo is going to be a totally different person, because the 40 years old Eduardo is going to have all this knowledge about how to build a lasting company. What I hope really is that at 48 years old, I will have all this knowledge where even if someone comes and destroys Novatech and it disappears, I can do it again. I'm very fast because I actually know how to do it. One of the most valuable things that I can learn over time. If you go through this hero path when you're creating your company and you want it to last, you develop so many skills that eventually in time, if someone comes and destroys everything that you have, or something happens that destroys your company, you can do it again. You know how to do it, and you're not going to learn fast. You're not going to learn that if you create something very fast from one month to another. When you're building a large company, you learn about everything: sales, accounting, even creating videos. I have learned so much that I consider myself a good salesman, and I wasn't like that 6 months ago. It's a continuous path of creating these skills that, if with patience, they will help you create so many other businesses in the future.
It's amazing. I love the long term thinking, and you're like a Swiss Army knife, because
Yeah,
you're always picking up a new skill. It's, what do I have to do today as an entrepreneur? Because
yeah.
you have to sell, you have to build, all that. It was awesome, and it was great having you on the show, Eduardo. How can people follow your journey to find more information on Novatech and see what you're up to?
They can follow me on LinkedIn. My handle is very easy. It's Eduardo Medina.
Awesome. Is that the best place for people to stay up to date with you, is on LinkedIn?
On LinkedIn, yes, and also you can find about my company on Novatech on Instagram. It's Novatech with no hyphen .ai.
I'll
Yeah.
make sure to put those in the description. Thanks for coming on, Eduardo. It was great talking with you. I always learn something through the process, and it's always a pleasure.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed this. It would be great if we can work on something together.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to that.
Take care, bro.